And now, kids, story time with Glenn Danzig.
Mother, tell your children not to walk my way unless they want to hear an interesting story. Welcome, kids.
You're scary.
Listen, we're not here to talk about my body issues or in my insecurities. I'm here to tell you it's a story.
Yay!
All right. Okay. So once there was this girl named Red Riding Hood, and she went to go visit her grandmother, but first she had to get a dark key from an evil prince. And then when she got the dark key from the evil prince, she fought this troll that had 2 heads and 5 arms.
Why'd you have 5 arms?
That's
You
just
usually
how
have
that's
either
how I
2
wrote it.
or 8 if it's like Gilgamesh or something.
That's how I wrote it, kid. Just deal with it, okay? So this troll had 5 arms, and Red Riding Hood used the magical key that you got from the Dark Prince to ward off the troll with 5 arms.
This plotline is convoluted.
Listen, just pay attention. It'll all pay off well in the end, okay? So after she fought the troll with 5 arms, she ran into a bear that could only speak in a French accent. And the bear said, hello, Red Riding Hood.
This doesn't even have any thematic congruence.
That's some pretty big words there, okay? Why don't you take off with them $5 words, okay? So the French bear was like, ooh la la, je suis un ours. I will help you, little Red Riding Hood.
Do you think maybe he should use actual French words?
He said ours and je suis. What do you want, kid?
Okay.
So the bear gave Red Riding Hood a ride on his back to Grandma's house, and then when she got there, what they didn't know was the wolf had already gotten there. So the wolf was dressed in his 3-piece suit that he got from the Brooks Brothers, right? Because he was the actual wolf of Wall Street, you see, and that's how you know he was really evil.
That doesn't make any sense.
Makes perfect sense, especially when you know that the wolf's real name is Gordon Gekko.
My mommy was watching that movie one day, and I looked, and there was a lot of snow and mountains.
That's right, because the wolf came down from the snowy mountains to eat Red Riding Hood's grandmother, but not the way they tell you in the story. Trust me, she was naked and enjoying it.
It sounds like you're just making this up, and you have no opinion of women.
You know, it sounds like to me like you should shut up, kid. Let me finish telling my story, okay? So Wolf of Wall Street, Gordon Gekko was there, and he was telling Little Red Riding Hood, you're going to do this huge mountain of cocaine.
I don't like this anymore.
Oh, you kids, there's no pleasing you kids. This isn't my target demographic. I'm leaving to go write some brooding metal.
Coming up next on Treehouse TV, Steven Seagal teaches judo to 8-year-olds.
That's when I'm under pressure now. The question always got back to me. What were they thinking now? Whoa, what were they thinking? What were they thinking?
What were they thinking? I'm Brendan.
I'm Nathan.
And this is a podcast called What Were They Thinking? We are in the last week, the last episode of Schlocktober. It is October 29th, or if you're listening on Patreon, I suppose it's a couple days earlier than that. And because it is the 5th Thursday in a month, we have picked a small-screen Shameful, as it were, a movie that did not make it to theaters, or at least did on a very, 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 very small level.
The smallest of small levels.
Yeah.
Like just a step above Ben and Arthur, maybe?
Yeah, a couple steps maybe.
Yeah.
But I mean, Ben and Arthur apparently did play at Pride last year, so they might have the one up on it. On the other end of the tin can and string, as it were, ladies and gentlemen, making his way back to the podcast from Lincoln Heights, Nebraska. That's your hometown now. so it's fine.
It is, yeah.
Galen Howard, welcome.
Thank you guys for having me back and for graciously accepting this suggestion I made that I shortly regretted afterward.
Yeah, so if anyone's listening right now that happened to watch this movie before the episode, you can put the blame squarely on Mr. Galen Howard.
I don't know. I feel it would have made its way onto our radar eventually because I am a fan of Danzig's music, moreover the Misfits, and also I had a couple of issues of the comic back in the day. So when this popped up on Shudder a few weeks back, I was like, oh, I might have to check that out sometime, see how they did. Hurried things along a bit, but
so you have read actual episodes of the comic, actual issues of the comic?
Yeah, I've got a couple back when I was in university when it first kind of debuted.
Because I mean, I haven't seen any of the the actual extended panels or anything. It seems to just be like kind of like a horror style like Frank Frazetta mishmash kind of thing.
It's definitely I guess in the spirit of what he was trying to do with the movie.
Well, what was he trying to do?
Well, from what I could gather, he was trying to do a Tales from the Crypt, Tales from the Dark Side, Tales from the Wherever type of situation, like the Cat's Eye or Creepshow.
Tales from my bathroom at 2 a.m.
Right. Well,
Tales from my mind that I never want analyzed.
Hey, we've talked about it a few times on the show before about separating the art from the artist, and he was one of the earlier ones for me that I kind of had to do that with.
Mm-hmm.
He's takes himself really, really seriously,
right.
Like to a pathological level.
Yeah,
from everything I've seen.
Well, and just to further that point, when this movie premiered, when he had his big premiere night, a lot of people in the audience were laughing, of course, because this movie is ridiculous. He got up on stage, and immediately one of the first things he said was, quite frankly, I'm glad everyone's here, but I don't understand the laughing because none of the stuff I did in this film was meant to be comedy. That just tells you the level of self-awareness he has.
Yeah. I think from what I've heard, he has since then kind of taken the retroactive kind of Wizoian method of then trying to say that it was
meant to do that.
There was something that there was a camp element intended, but he's of course on record as saying that was not the case.
So be sure to watch for the Verotika Artist starring James Franco coming this summer.
Or Hugh Jackman.
There you go.
That's brilliant casting.
Perfect. Yeah.
Because for anybody who out there doesn't know, Glenn Danzig was apparently up for the role of Wolverine, or at least was trying to get the role of Wolverine when X-Men was made.
Maybe you could. I would buy that he was petitioning for it.
I don't know.
To say that he was up for it, I find hard to believe.
In my hooked to the internet constantly days, I even remember people saying that Danzig was, at the very least, had auditioned for the role and was being considered because
if someone could get a hold of that tape.
Because he was short and stocky in stature, much like the Wolverine of the comics.
I'll just say this: Chris Klein also auditioned for Mamma Mia, and you can see how that turned out by Googling it, because it's fantastic.
You can see that audition is available.
Oh yeah.
Oh yes, please. Thank you, internet.
But yeah, and then there's also famously when Hugh Jackman did get the part, Danzig remarked he played it gay. So let's talk about Verotika.
Oh
right
boy,
in his wheelhouse.
On that note.
Yeah, let's talk about Verotika. I don't have any information on how much this movie cost. I'm assuming from the look of it, not much.
$1 million. That's according to IMDb. I wonder. My question is where.
I'm guessing. Narcotics. The cast is predominantly comprised of legitimate porn stars.
Mm-hmm.
Correct.
Yeah.
Mostly. There are some
Mostly.
exceptions.
Yes.
There are exceptions. They will
actually,
receive their due, but yes.
I was going to say there was one exception because Wrestling Reference got it in. Sean Waltman is in this, but he's also technically a porn star.
Yep. Yep.
I forgot about that movie. Anyway, so Verotika, we start off with our host.
And truer words that are never spoken again throughout the entire movie when her victim is pleading for help from God, and she says, "What utter nonsense."
She also says, "Bubble, bubble, toil and trouble," and just makes fun of that as if to say, like, guys, brace yourselves, because this ain't your daddy's witch movie.
The hostess, is she a witch? What is she?
I think, from my understanding, is that she was inspired by the Crypt Keeper and Elvira.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
She has like
now, does she show up in the comic?
Not to my knowledge, no.
So she
But it's
just
been, honest to goodness, it's been like 2 decades since I've read those comics.
But she has 2 upside down crosses under her eyes, so we know she's evil.
That's Danzig.
right.
Yeah, she plucks this poor girl's eyes out, and she looks at right in the lens and calls us all her little darklings. Guys, we're in for a ride here. Here we go.
A Glenn Danzig film. And then all the credits to it, I noted, these are porn names. And that's when I looked it up and said, oh, I'm right.
Poor names and edited by Brian Cox. We're all sure that's the same guy, right?
It's the
It's
same
absolutely
guy.
the
It's,
Doctor.
yes.
Oh, yeah, it's the guy who originally played Hannibal Lecter. He was in X-Men 2.
Yep.
Yes,
So that makes
and-
2.
And
that
the
makes-
Glimmer Man. Don't forget the Glimmer Man.
Right.
I was gonna say that makes 2 Brian Cox movies we talked about with Galen so far.
Technically, this is our second Brian Cox movie altogether. Yeah.
I also love the opening credits. They're basically just throwing whatever random shit they made in like After Effects.
Just yeah. After you have like the Thing title credits ripoff.
just like burning in a garbage bag. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It was legitimately done as an homage to The Thing or The Thing from Another Planet, because
Right.
what I can say about Glenn Danzig that I do know for certain is that he does love himself some campy B-horror movies from the 50s and 60s.
Which
Right.
you'd think somebody with that much love for horror would have a better understanding of how to make a horror movie.
Make a horror
Yes.
movie. Yeah.
But you
have
do
like
not.
one genuine scare, anything.
But we do start out with our first story, ladies and gentlemen. This is an anthology film. We start out with our first story called The Albino Spider of Dejet.
Yeah.
Probably by default, I'm just going to say this, in my opinion, probably by default, and I'm not saying it's good, but it's probably the best one by default because it's the only one that has a plot, I think.
Somewhat.
More than
Technically,
the other
somewhat,
two.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Definitely
could
more than our last
piece
one.
together. I could kind of piece together motivations. That's as
Kind of.
and there was a beginning, a middle, and an ending to our villain. So
True.
yeah.
Well, we start out with 2 people getting hot and heavy on a couch.
And and our first continuity error straight out of the gate, because they're getting hot and heavy, and she's going to town on the downtown.
Right.
And then when he pulls her up for a big smooch and to get further hot and heavy, it is revealed that his pants are still securely fastened, belt buckled, and zipped up.
Maybe she's just sucking on a zipper.
Maybe.
You know, it's
Maybe
a
that-
move. It's
It's one of the
move.
many kinks that Danzig put in this movie.
Right.
And
Love it when she's just mouthing the zipper. It's just her in the zipper, and I'm just watching.
I like it because you could cut your mouth open and not even know it.
and we know right away at this point, it clues us in is everyone has these horrible French accents that they're trying to do throughout the whole thing.
Yes.
Your teeth, they are looking at me.
Oh my
Yeah.
god.
Did you read that
Avance.
that supposedly they did have a dialect coach on set?
Yes.
which was, to my knowledge, a Maurice Chevalier record that he had on hand.
Thank Evans for
Evo,
little girls.
hello.
Thank
that's fine.
Evans for little girls with eyeballs for nipples. That's how the song goes, right?
It is.
Yeah, I mean it's
Well,
just
when you translate it, you know.
it's not any
When
less
you translate
creepy.
it from the heavy French accent, that's what it says.
It's not any less creepier than the actual version, so
Okay.
let's just say that. But yeah, he notices right away her teats. They are looking at him, and he freaks out and leaves. And for some reason, yeah, I don't know what's going on. So there's a spider on the ground.
I mean, if anyone hasn't caught on, she has eyeballs for nipples.
Okay.
Yeah,
Which is a Saturday Night Live sketch. Let's just get that right out of the way because it was season 17. Kirstie Alley was the host. I looked it up. Their
sure
eyes
discussed
were on their
this.
breasts is the name of the B movie that they're making fun of, and it was a sketch about these women from outer space who came down and their eyes were where their nipples should be. So now that we get that out of the way, the next
Glenn
stroke
Danzig
music-
wasn't the musical guest on that episode.
No.
wouldn't that be the greatest? Wouldn't that be the greatest though?
You wouldn't mind if I. That's actually a really scary idea. You know, I'm gonna put that in my comic. No, this is ridiculous, and it's meant for comic effect. I don't know what humor is.
I don't know what you're talking about. That, none
Wait,
of
wait,
that-
wait. Maybe
Yeah,
Scares the
nothing
fuck
is humorous.
maybe they told him it's meant for comic effect, and he thought they meant comic.
Oh,
books.
it meant, like a comic book, right?
And then he just walked out in a puff of
Yeah,
smoke.
you have you have a song to perform. I'm gonna make a comic.
So the next part that happens, and I'll let you guys all listening know, no, we did not have a stroke. This legitimately happened in the movie. There was an albino spider crawling on her rose that fell down to the floor.
It got its own credit in the title credits. The VFX for the albino spider got its own standalone credit.
Oh, well, there you go. So her nipple eyes start crying because she's so sad that her boyfriend ran out on her because he found out about her eye nipples. The eye nipple tear trickles down and falls onto the spider, and the spider then transmogrifies into an anthropomorphic albino spider, replete with 8 limbs. Think of the man spider from the Spider-Man comics, but with a dude's head instead of a spider's head, you know. But even the spider has a French accent.
He was also listening to that Maurice Chevalier record.
Why does this happen? We never find out. It just
don't
does.
know.
I skipped right to like a lady comes over to the house and he snaps his first neck.
Well, okay, no, she is. It was Marielle, who lived down the hall, because she was the lady who came to comfort our eye-nippled lady when her boyfriend ran out.
Yes.
And then every time,
Yeah, she keeps calling her mon petit.
yes,
That's how you know she's French.
right. So the man spider, in the night, goes down the hall and kills Marielle after she makes the hard life decision of milk or beer.
What?
She looks in her fridge and there's milk and beer, and she doesn't know which one to drink.
And she also makes the life-ending decision of referring to this thing as a freak. And he says, "A freak is such an ugly word a true tramp would use." And then he snaps her neck. We cut to Dejette, who is sleeping because, as we later learn, anytime she falls asleep, apparently this man spider can just walk around in the real world
and kill people and snap
and
necks. Yeah.
kill people. Yeah, and she does the best, like waking up. No.
Right. Right,
I-
because apparently she has like a vision of it as she's sleeping.
Yeah.
And then don't we smash cut to an alleyway where the hookers are trolling for dates?
Yeah, I thought they were on a roof at first. I thought they were just having a garden party up on the roof.
I mean, it probably was shot on a rooftop. That's why it looks like that.
Yeah.
And
yeah, apparently the majority of this was shot in Skid Row in Los Angeles.
yes, apparently to save on budget, I guess.
Good job.
So they the man spider finds himself a hooker and kills her. That's right.
Well, yes, they have a little conversation behind, him from behind the alley and her in the, her outside, her just around the corner, and then he makes some, he says some pretty disgusting things to her, and then breaks her neck.
Then he does. Did you say her name was? I thought Dijit.
Dijette is the main girl. Yeah,
that's the girl's name. Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't think. I thought that was the name of the city. Anyhow, she apparently fell asleep standing up while at a modeling gig.
Yeah.
Right. Yes.
I mean, this thing would run rampant if its host was narcoleptic, right?
Right.
Like that. There's your story right there. Just make her narcoleptic, and then it makes more sense.
Yeah. The other thing I couldn't get over is that when he's talking to the prostitute, he's saying some disgusting things and talks about wanting to perform sodomy on her, and this man spider has no visible penis.
Yeah, I don't know what he's doing.
How is he going to, how does he have sex?
Maybe he's got like a web pouch, but he's got it like painted over like a skin color. Yeah. And then he just goes flop and it comes out.
So he's like a marsupial spider?
Yeah. He's a real marsupial. But he does he snaps her neck, and then eventually we see a news story, and God, they have come up with the perfect name for this serial killer.
You'd never guess. It's not on the nose or anything. Le neck breaker.
Le neck breaker.
The neck breaker.
I think my note running through this whole thing for this segment of the movie, anyways, was all of these people are speaking with French, quote unquote, accents. They're supposed to be in France. Why are none of them speaking French to each other?
It's the classic. It's that classic conundrum, and all the no one actually speaks French.
Danzig was like, they won't understand. People can't read. My fans can't read.
Right. Yeah. But but he had already made up his mind that they were French, so they, yeah.
Do the French thing, but still say English words.
So she goes to see a porno called Nudes Without a Face.
This hilarious. Also, obviously, like another cute little reference to Eyes Without a Face, which is a great movie. Right. Another terrible movie,
which he rips off for the second segment.
Yeah, another terrible movie, by the way, referencing a much better movie to make us forget about.
That's throughout. That's the throughout.
Yeah. But my favorite little bit is in this scene because she goes into the porno theater and there's like two bros beside each other, a seat apart watching a porno, which is like, that's a little odd. Like you don't normally just hang out with your buddies at the porno theater, but
well, I mean, it depends on what their relationship is.
I mean, they seemed like they were bros, like you know what I mean?
Well, man, could be doing it on the DL. Yeah. That's all I'm saying.
He points at the screen and just says, "This is where she does them both." I'm like, dude, you haven't seen the movie before. Shut up. It's pretty obvious what's going to happen here.
Well, I mean, it does nothing to bolster her line, which I think is this film is for making sex. Something or words to that effect, and about as eloquent as that.
And I'm gonna say it right now, ladies. You want to go see a porno in the theater? That's great. I don't recommend falling asleep in the theater.
No,
that is a mistake.
No. I also recommend staying at home with a laptop because it's 2020.
Yeah, that too. I don't even know if this is supposed to be a modern story. This could be a period piece. I don't fucking know.
You had that one reporter who was like dressed like Bogart.
Yeah, I think that was supposed to be because he was French, though.
The French dress in trench coats,
according to Danzig.
Listen, okay. Humphrey Bogart, notable French sensation.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, him and Jerry Lewis. Yeah.
yeah, so she falls asleep in the porno theater, and of course that makes, the man spider wake up, and we see him having sex in a horrifying quick scene. And then he's like, no, shit, I gotta finish, don't wake up, because she's like starting to wake up. I mean, that's basically what happens. All these dude bros in the theater are like surrounding her and like pretty sure they're gonna try to rape her.
Yeah.
Oh God.
She casually strolls away from an attempted rape.
She does in the most like blasé way possible. One of the dudes is like, hey, you come back. Hey, we were doing something over here. Where are we going? I have a hot take. I don't think Glenn Danzig knows how to direct actors.
I don't think he does either.
Where did you pick that up? They did. I mean, they said their lines. Like I wrote them down, and they said them, and
I got them. I got the dialogue coach and everything.
Later on, she meets up with a waiter who has the worst, and I know this is saying something, but I think he has the worst French accent in this whole story.
That is saying something.
And anytime someone changes their tone, by the way, like if they're angry or sad or yelling, their accent is gone. Like it just disappears immediately. But he is like warning her about le neck breaker.
Le neck breaker. You also notice that the neon cafe sign was indoors.
No, I didn't.
And the right way around, so you could read cafe.
You could read it correctly.
Inside.
Yeah. You could read it from inside.
It's hey, it's France, baby. Glenn, do you think we should just flip that around? Oh fuck, it's too late. We already shot it. No, Glenn, we haven't even.
But they won't know it's a cafe. They'll just think they'll think we're in an EFAC.
And then she's at some weird random table having a coffee.
Right? Come on.
I don't want these pussies to think it's a library or some shit.
So she comes up. This is where she comes up with her brilliant plan.
Master plan.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead.
She's gonna take a bunch of sleeping pills and OD on them so that the neckbreaker is trapped in reality and can be killed.
There goes Rabbit.
And I said back. And I didn't say back. I said trapped in reality.
Right. Yeah. It's a real she makes a true sacrifice,
for our country.
Right. Mm-hmm. Again, we still have not gotten any explanations as to why she has eyeballs on her nipples.
None at all. And they don't play a role in any of this. There isn't a reference later to it.
They go up one more time, but we'll get to that. So she takes the pills and then she calls the police, knowing that they'll show up to try and save her, but it'll be too late not because it's poor response time or the police are ineffectual. Well, maybe they are, because when they swing that battering ram, they don't do it with a whole lot of conviction.
I wrote that down too. It looks like Glenn Danzig was like, "Don't fucking break that door."
Right.
Because we got a cutaway that we're going to use in the next scene from the other side of the door.
Yeah. Because, they're doing it with, like, the utmost, grace and poise.
Right.
Not a dent on that door.
Very gingerly are they battering that door.
If they had knocked, they would have been hitting the door harder.
And when they get in, they just unload on Man Spider, just full of holes.
Yep.
And kill him. He just dies via bullets.
Did you notice that one of the French constables looked like Mikey Day?
No,
he did. So I have a note here. It's like, oh mon Dieu, c'est Constable Mikey Day.
They have no reaction. By the way, they have no reaction. Zero reaction
seeing
to
a giant demon spider with no penis. Yeah.
They go, she is dead. Oui. C'est strange.
No, I think it was strange. I think the word was
still
strange.
Not the word for strange in French.
Strange.
They strange. Hey, she has eyes on her boobies. That's it.
Wait.
That's the reaction.
That's it.
And now, if I may, this is the end of story 1. I just want to read the transition exactly as it happens, because we go back to our host, and this is what she says. The eyes have it. That's all fine and well. What am I supposed to do with these? Holds up eyes. Anyway, our next story. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
That's it.
And now
The
our next
eyes-
story.
The eyes have it? What are you talking
Yeah,
about?
she holds up separate eyes. Yeah, the eyes have what? Like there's nothing to any of this. And I mean, that's the interesting thing, like, because with most host wraparounds, there's some kind of like thematic anchoring. There's some point to it. She literally just shows up and says, "Well, okay, that happened. Now here's another one."
Well, because I think, again, Danzig being inspired by Elvira, Vampira, and the Crypt Keeper, he wanted some punnery afoot. And this is as close as he could get. Her showing up and inexplicably saying that the eyes have it, and then throwing those
And then
eyes
showing
away.
separate eyes. Yeah.
Right. That's as close as he could come. And
That
you're
was a
never,
joke.
ever going to
That was a
hear
joke.
Danzig say, "I got nothing."
What is our next story called, Nathan?
Change of face.
Change of face.
Yes, and our villain, again, I know it's going to run through it because it's the host segment stuff, but our villain in this piece looks like a methed out Elvira.
And her name is Mystery Girl.
Mystery Girl.
From parts unknown. She's just south of Truth or Consequences, New Mexico.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. So this is about a stripper who is Mystery
Terrible
Girl.
at stripping.
Yeah. Well, she keeps all her clothes on.
Right.
Right.
Or, well, no, I guess everyone in this segment wears pasties, which I think is hilarious that in a movie like Verotika,
No,
Directed
there were
by-
boobies in this. There were.
not this segment,
That's true.
everybody had like the skull things on.
She had the skull things on. I saw that, but no, there were legit girls with boobies in this.
Well, I mean, everyone had boobies.
No, I mean like with like the nipples exposed and whatnot.
Oh, I didn't think
Right.
they did it in
It's
the
it was at times a juice bar.
I did think it was funny though, at the lack of it. I expected a lot more like especially, you have Danzig making a movie called Verotika. Like I expected that throughout this entire thing, and I just feel like it was weird that he held back.
Which the reason why it's called that is because it's
I mean, there were. I
mashable
imagine there were probably some people were after 5 minutes on set, kind of, had some second thoughts about their original agreement.
I can't imagine why.
I can imagine every one of them having second thoughts, and then every single one of them going, you know what, this counts towards SAG credit. I'll tell you this, when we were watching it, Patty was like, is this supposed to be a horror movie? Is this supposed to be a porno? Like I've seen sexier ones of the other and scarier ones of the other. Okay. It's like when the old story when they filmed Boogie Nights. Apparently the real porn stars that they had work in that movie, all they did was bother the actors to ask them about how they could get a SAG card.
I don't know. Stop asking me. I can't help you out.
Look,
Is that your
I
William H.
got a
Macy?
card. I don't know what to tell
No,
you.
that was my Wahlberg. Go talk to Julianne Moore. I don't know.
You gotta get yourself a funny hat. That's paid. Funny hat.
Yeah.
Funny because it's paid.
I'm gonna hate this movie in a year. Yeah. So anyway, Verotika. We start off with a confrontation in Alley, actually, where this girl yells out, "No, you can't have my face," and she cuts
Which
it off
is,
anyway. and
that's a
takes her
reasonable
face.
response.
Yeah,
Mhm.
but she takes it because I guess you can't just say,
Right.
"No, you can't have it."
Well, and I love her response is, "Now look what you made me do."
Yeah, like she wasn't gonna
As
do it
opposed
anyway.
to what, just like handing her the face? Like, you were gonna take her face regardless. You didn't make her do anything.
Yeah.
Like, she didn't make you do anything.
Wouldn't it have been better if you had taken your own face off?
You
Right.
know, all
I mean,
polite like and
right,
whatnot.
That would be a lot. That would be infinitely less painful, right?
Yeah, of course. So she takes it. Smash cut to strippers
Mhm.
dancing poorly.
And
Yeah.
uncomfortably because Danzig is watching.
Probably. Yeah. I feel like I feel it's less poorly and more like hesitantly.
They were feeling very uncomfortable. They were probably a little stiff because
Because Glenn Danzig was a little stiff. Hey yo.
you're
Emphasis on the little.
Ah, there we go.
Because he's short,
Double roast. But anyway, this dancing goes on for a very long time. Yeah, like if I didn't know any better, I would have thought he just went to a strip club and just started filming it. It just goes on for a lifetime. So the mystery girl comes out and she dances around for 10 years for an audience of 3.
And doesn't get naked at a strip club.
Nope. Probably again, I think Galen, I think you might have a point about some of the actors showing up and be like, you know what? I'm not gonna do this.
Not for Glenn Danzig.
No, I'm just gonna keep these on.
right.
We cut to, I know Galen mentioned before we recorded, the best character, or your favorite character in the movie is the detective.
The one who has no idea
amazing.
how to deliver the line, nice, another sicko killer. Because he makes it sound like, nice, another sicko killer. As opposed to, nice, another sicko killer.
I'm impressed. Yeah.
And he says, they find the girl that got her face ripped off, and she's like, she's dead from apparent shock and loss of blood.
And
I'm
lots of blood.
really?
And lots of
What?
blood.
How about just loss of face? Literally has her face
Then
cut off.
I love his detective work moments later when when they deduce that there have been a series of victims found without a face, and he goes, well, there's your motive. They wanted their face.
Without a face.
They wanted her fine detective work there, Lou. So she approaches someone else. Oh, hold on a second, actually. No, sorry. The next scene is when she chats with her faces.
Would you like some company, dears?
Yeah.
She's got them all hanging up on the wall. I'm just gonna say that must smell rank.
Yeah.
They're just sitting there. They're just
You
dripping.
know what? I bet she cleans them with palm olive. Because it's soft on hands while you wash faces.
Guys, this episode is brought to you today by Palmolive.
Thanks, Geritol.
Yeah, so she's chatting with her faces, and
As one does.
and she's saying, "Listen, you guys are gonna get some company soon because I'm gonna cut more faces, baby."
Right.
Smash cut to an apartment where this girl is answering the door, or she sees someone come in, and she's like, "Is it? I'm in here. I didn't call maintenance today."
Mhm.
And then,
But
boom,
I'm in here.
face cut.
Yeah. This time she identifies herself as the collector. I'm here to collect faces.
collector.
Yeah,
Yes. Haven't you
Face-
heard? I'm the face collector. I'm here. ... Uncomfortable silence because she's uncomfortable being on the set of Glenn Danzig to collect your face.
And I must say, the girl who gets her face cut off here, she is going in for the nonplussed reaction because she's like, my face, you cut my face.
Right. Even after she has been defaced, it's just more of like, oh.
R.I.P. my face.
Defaced.
She's kind of like heavy breathing, as in she was like, have experience like an esophagus punch, kind of,
I think defaced broke Nathan.
Because she had her face removed, but because her beauty was scarred, she was also defaced. So she was defaced when she was defaced.
Oh,
So Verotika.
yeah, mystery. Well, that's what we were talking about.
I don't know what we're talking about now.
I don't even know. I'm in the Matrix right now. Mystery Girl is back to just dancing her heart out again for another 10 minutes.
Right.
And then for a while, I'm like wondering, like, oh, why? Okay, I get she's scarred and she wants a face to like put over her face, but when she dances, she covers her face.
Yeah,
like, I
no,
don't
that's
know-
a good point. Right, yeah, because apparently, she's I mean, yeah. Again, the motivation here is very vague.
Yeah, it's not like she goes out to like Nordstrom's or something wearing the faces. You know what would have made this segment better is if she had worn one of the faces and then got recognized as that person.
Right. Oh, it's like, yeah. Oh, you mean if someone was like, oh, oh, there's
died.
there's Cindy's
I
face.
saw it in the paper. She died. I went to her funeral last week. What's she doing at Nordstrom's?
Right.
This segment brought to you by Nordstrom's.
Or if you just like saw like, because apparently the last girl wasn't killed. She was just, as again, defaced. And
I thought she was. Stop it. She had her face taken off. Was like, you took my face, but then she was found dead later.
Was she okay?
Yeah, she was found dead later. The
I
cops
mean,
come
because
in.
in that scene, it looked like she was gonna be fine. She was gonna have no
She
face.
sounded like she
wasn't
was gonna be fine.
She wasn't like gasping on the ground or something. She was just like completely upright, just like holding her lack of face,
Right.
and just saying like, my face, my face. And her speech wasn't impaired at all. She was just going, my face, my face.
I wanted her to squeal like Nicolas Cage in Face Off. when they showed her without the face and it was just a muscle
like
tissue.
he's smoking without a face. Yeah.
That girl, that mystery girl.
Off.
Yeah, that mystery girl took my face off.
All right.
Face off.
Yeah, I wish.
I would have loved if Nicolas Cage was in this movie. If Nicolas Cage was the detective,
You know what? I almost feel like Glenn Danzig. All he had to do was ask.
Mhm.
I think if he had just asked, he probably could have gotten Nicolas Cage.
There's
ask
no
and you
way.
shall receive.
There's no way Nicolas Cage would be like, no, I'm not going to work with the singer in the Misfits. Like, there's no fucking way he would.
No
turn
way.
that
Yeah,
down.
there's no way he would have said this project is below me.
He's like, oh, it's based on a comic book. Sign me up.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah.
He could have just said, Danzig could have just said, yeah, there was an issue where he helped Superman, and he's like, oh, I'm in.
Right.
The same detective shows up again, and he says, you know what? I think we might be dealing with the same killer.
You think?
You think?
They actually say that. That's an actual line from the movie. You think?
Oh, does somebody say that to him?
Yes.
Oh,
and
nice.
all I can think of is, that exemplifies solid police work. A sarcastic, you think?
But the detective does find a card, and he's like, it's for the strip club. I'm gonna go investigate. And he goes to investigate.
All right. No. Let me. You're gonna go and gonna deface somebody. Are you bringing a business card along?
I mean, maybe it's your calling card.
No, it's literally a calling card. You don't want to do that. You've already got the calling card.
That was like
by facing someone.
Where did they? So why was the card there? Was that because she had a card from the strip club that she works at?
Oh yeah, no, I think that was the victim's card, which still doesn't make sense because why would she have a card for her employer?
Right?
That doesn't make any sense.
No, it's all. Let's call him up right now, Glenn.
Oh, I think the line's
Shut up,
busy.
the movie's perfect.
Yeah.
Click.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't do interviews.
I think he's on the line with Maurice Chevalier, the ghost of Maurice Chevalier. Well, I feel like all of these segments are basically just like rejected music video concepts that he turned into that he added 30 minutes to.
Oh, Jesus, have you seen his music videos?
Oh yeah.
If you listen to his music, especially his later music, there's not a whole lot that gets rejected.
No.
Well, maybe,
I know. Yeah, that's why. That's saying something.
Guys, we have to talk. We have to get into this because the big cameo's coming up.
Oh my
The
God.
detective goes to the strip club to question the guy running it, and it's X-Pac.
I thought he was just working the door.
Oh, was he?
It's who?
Sean Waltman, X-Pac.
X-Pac
Got
from
it,
the
okay.
WWE. Yeah.
But he has like maybe 3 lines, and I was disappointed by that. I was hoping he was going to be in more of this movie.
Do you think he could handle? I mean, you're familiar with his work. Do you think he could handle a meaty dramatic role?
I think he could have handled it better. Well, no, I don't think anybody could look good in this movie, to be
Well, no.
honest with you. But yeah, so X-Pac is there, and the detective gave him a hard time, and that's pretty much it. Also, I wrote down that the fact that Sean Waltman would work at this club is a 1,000% checks out.
I'll take your word for it.
It was at this point of the movie I had noted that the detective looked like a dollar store Michael Chiklis. Like from
Pretty
The
much,
Shield.
yeah. He apparently he's one of the actors with like quote unquote credentials. He was on like several seasons of both. He's done a lot of soaps.
Okay.
He had a supporting role in Karate Kid Part 3.
Okay.
That's the zenith right there.
Yeah,
Well, it's not the next Karate Kid, so.
that's right. Yeah.
But the detective is investigating. He goes into the back room with the strippers, to which one of them says, "You can't come back here. There's naked ladies." He said, "There's naked ladies everywhere. Let me back there." And then the best thing is one of them says, "Get out of here, or we're gonna call a cop," which I thought was a weirdly written line.
We're going to call a cop.
Yeah, no, we're gonna
Just
call
one.
the cops.
Just one.
Just one specifically. And then
Yeah.
she says,
I guess technically there was like a detective and a cop, so I don't know.
and then another great line is she says, "Cops are all bark, and all you really want is some free sex."
Yeah, those were like two lines that just got that one got like they two lines that just got combined.
Yep.
Are all
So
bark and yeah.
So then
Yeah,
detective.
and then it was like then like the next then like part of the script got cut off, and then it was like the next page. She just said that line.
So then Detective Michael Chiklis goes back and finds Mystery Girl. She cuts him. She cuts him real good. Tries to cut his face, I believe, but then she gets away.
Wanted his face too.
He shoots.
Yeah, she just because before she's like motivated because she's stealing faces of beautiful women. But now, apparently, now that he shows up, it's like her one move is just taking off people's faces in general.
Like,
Which she stands
why not
behind him to do.
Yeah.
And then he shoots her.
Right.
But while she's still behind him?
Yeah, that made no sense. There was a jump cut, and I was like, how did that happen?
Yeah.
Also, like, yeah, if she's only trying to take women, if she's threatened by this guy who's going to end her, face thievery,
Yeah, I mean, why just
kill him.
just stab him, do something? But no, like her only form of defense is to remove people's faces, apparently.
Yeah, that's her one move. Just take the face and bolt.
Right. Like if like she was like if it was if this was like an episode of like Mortal Kombat, if there was like a scene in Mortal Kombat or something, she would just be her finishing move would just be removing faces. I mean, her beginning move would just be removing faces.
In Mortal Kombat, every button combination would be removing
Would just be
Remove
remove
face,
face,
yeah.
remove face.
No, you guys are leaving out dance seductively but poorly.
But uncomfortably.
And uncomfortably. Well, I don't know about. I mean, yeah, she'd be uncomfortable, but you see, I don't know if that's an acting choice, like you said. It could be because she was, on a set with Danzig, or it could just be the fact that
I think she's just. We don't know. We can't assume that she's dancing poorly. I think it's more just more the fact that that Danzig is present.
I'd like to think that that was an actor's choice, and she was dancing
she
uncomfortably.
Thinks like my character is a poor dancer, and that's why I feel the need to remove people's faces.
And that's why she's uncomfortable in her own skin, right?
Yeah.
So I'm way too much credit to this.
You just had more insight than Danzig had in this entire screenplay.
So what you're saying is that I
Assuming
could
there
have
was a
directed this
screenplay.
better.
Yeah, assuming there was a screenplay. Exactly. Yeah, you could have directed it better.
Because my first direction would be like, no French accents.
Right.
Not if you don't speak French.
And
So, guys-
and no one did. So then no one would use an accent.
So the detective shoots her a bunch of times, and we're like, oh, what happened? She got away. What's gonna happen? He's kind of bleeding. Cut to 6 months later, and Mystery Girl is dancing, and that's the end.
That's
Bullet
the end.
wounds and all. You
So
can see her.
she has more. She's gonna go after more faces, and then talk to him in her face chamber.
Now, if I may again, we cut back to our hostess with the mostess.
Yeah.
And she
and
says,
she does have a name. To be fair, her name is apparently Morella.
To be foul.
To be fair.
Is it? Oh, I totally missed.
Yes.
what her
I
name
think.
was.
Well, yeah. I don't think it's ever referred to in the film, but I think according to IMDb in the credits, it's her name is Morella, whatever that
But
means.
she says, "Look at the mess that Mystery Girl made. There, good as new. And now, Darklings, the next story."
Yeah.
So Galen, what is our third story called?
What is it?
Drukija.
Drukija? It's something about Drukija.
Yeah, it's like
Countess
Drukija.
of Blood.
Yes, Countess of Blood. Drukija,
And
Countess
fan
of
of
Blood.
Danzig.
Yeah,
Because
This
she has a Danzig logo on her crown.
she does.
This shit was the worst one by a country mile.
At least there was some resemblance of production design. That was nice to look at times.
That's as close as you get because there's no story going throughout with this.
Right.
In fact, as far as the segments go, this one has the least amount of notes on my my loose leaf paper.
Yeah, no, because I mean, I feel like as the movie goes on, there's less and less plot.
Right.
Less and
And
less
this
what,
one-
Brent?
Plot.
Okay.
But I don't know if you guys got this. It was very subtle in this piece here. But this lady, who is a countess, really likes virgin blood. Did you guys pick up on that? Or
I caught it, and the fact that it was based on a real person.
okay.
Right. It's Countess of Bathory, and that's pretty much it. I mean, it's like if you wrote like basically just like the first sentence that comes up in Google explaining the Countess of Bathory, that's pretty much the research he did.
And here's the thing with this, it's another segment that actually could lead to a legitimately good short story where the
I mean,
the virgin that's taken at the first gets away or gets her or gives the countess her comeuppance as she escapes. None of that happens.
Yeah, there's infinite possibility. I mean, this story has inspired great stories in film,
As well as Stay Alive.
There's the great anthology Immoral Tales, in which there's a great segment about Countess of Bathory. I mean, we've seen this many times, but yeah, there's nothing here. There's absolutely nothing here.
Yeah, Dracula dead and loving it. I get it.
Dare you defame the good name of Mel Brooks, despite that not being one of his stronger entries.
I was gonna say one of his lesser.
And unfortunately, his final entry, most likely.
Yeah. So we start out with a family offering up their virgin daughter for some money because they're falling on hard times. This, by the way, this is a period piece. I think we kind of got that across by saying what it was.
Because of all the blood, right?
No.
Yeah.
So they give up their daughter. Galen has left the podcast.
That's it. This shitty puns. I'm out of here.
They're giving up their daughter for money. They're falling on hard times, and we find that the countess in question has all lined up. Yeah, Drukija.
Yes.
I wrote down Drukija. Is that her name?
Drukija. Yeah.
Okay.
Drew Carey. Yeah. Countess Carey.
If I try to say Drew Carey,
right.
we'll get real drunk first.
All right, virgins.
Drew Carey.
All right, virgins. It's time for a hoedown. Your category is I'm about to drink your blood and go. But yeah, she has
the showcase showdown. What do I bid for this Vestal Virgin?
So she has a bunch of girls lined up, and the blonde virgin that we just saw get picked up is, I'm sure she's picked out for something not so great.
No, she kind of, I think she kind of knows too, because she doesn't really want to go along with this whole thing.
Yep. No, she
understandably is a little reluctant.
Yeah, and she gets placed in a. Well, actually, Galen, why don't you explain this? Because you actually know someone who was in this film, so go right ahead.
Yes, I know my friend Kansas Bowling was is the first peasant girl to be unceremoniously murdered and deblooded. She told me a little bit about filming it. Apparently, the after she's killed, we then just see her in this giant bloodbath for like upwards of like 10 minutes, and apparently there wasn't enough. She said there wasn't enough blood to fill the bath. So some of the people in art department just filled it with rocks. So she was just basically on her knees in just this tub full of rocks.
Oh
But
my goodness!
She did want it to be clear that that Danzig did come to her defense and yell at them. So she said that he was very lovely to her.
Okay, well there you go.
So.
I feel for her because she is playing dead while this woman just like is like licking the blood off of her and drinking her blood for like you said, it's like 10 minutes.
It's about 10 minutes.
Like. Yeah, and she basically just has to be completely still. So kudos, because that's not an easy thing to do.
Yeah, utmost sympathy. Yeah,
I feel so bad for the actress playing the Countess too, because it's almost like she pauses and then keeps doing what she's doing. It's almost like she's waiting for Danzig to give her something. Like, you know what I mean? She's waiting for the direction.
Or to stop looking at her uncomfortably.
It's a real 13 to 17 Paris situation.
13?
Sorry, 15, 17, whatever.
I was like, oh shit, was there a prequel?
It's a time of day. Cut me some slack.
I have to say that I have, largely I have utmost sympathy for the actors in this piece. I think a lot of them. I mean, of course, some of them are not professional actors in the traditional sense, but there are a lot of them, I think, who are capable of fine performances and were just never given a snowball's chance in hell. Because of the circumstances.
Yeah, for sure. Following this scene that goes on for a lifetime, the Countess is looking in the mirror, checking her virgin blood complexion. It's good for her skin.
Don't forget her toady, because she's got that toady who's just constantly yes-manning her.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you look beautiful. You look amazing. You look fantastic. The blood is working, obviously.
Yeah.
Right.
She then moves on to kill another peasant who's just hanging upside down. She drinks more blood. Is this the moment, Nathan, you mentioned before, where they have to like squeeze the neck for more blood to come out?
I think so, because she slits the neck, and it spurts out.
Yeah.
At first, and then it just trickles down. And then she actually kind of has to wrap her hand around like she's going to like embrace her. But you can see her hand squeezing, and when she does, you get more of the arterial spray.
Yeah. She like has to press down on the make it look realistic. Just caress her neck like you would after you killed her. And she kills another woman, and At this point, she scampers through the woods, and you're like, "Where the fuck is this going?"
To a wolf.
Mm-hmm. And she's like, "Go get me a virgin." And I'm like, "Why do you need a wolf to help you? Don't you have like 17 women back there?"
She clearly, well, not only that, she has people to do it for her because that's what we saw them doing at the first of the segment.
That's right.
I don't get. And what does she feed the wolf a piece of human too? Like I didn't understand that either.
Wolves get hungry.
Well, she gives it meat at least. I don't know if it's part of human, but she gives it raw meat at least.
Yeah. Cuts up another woman and starts devouring her heart while the woman is alive for way too long.
It's got real Kali Ma type situation going on here.
Like she's literally taking chunks out of the heart, and the woman's still like not dead.
Oh, this is still going on, is it?
They catch another girl trying to escape and have her executed with a beautiful CGI fire.
Oh my god. I skipped past my note. I had a really good note that I'm going to look. I have to deliver it. She didn't die because she got her heart ripped out. Because the heart was bigger
Because
than
that heart was gigantic.
It was like a moose heart.
Yep.
Well, it could have been a moose heart transplant. Because of the time period, all that was available was a moose heart. The surgeons at the time only had a moose heart available.
I was thinking it was a prop left over from the 4th segment he was going to make about the moose heart transplant. It'd be like that Christian Slater movie, but a moose instead of a baboon.
Moose without a
right.
face.
Yeah. Right. Untamed heart, untamed moose heart.
Untamed
Moose heart.
That's like the movie that Kevin Smith keeps saying he's going to make, Moose Jaws.
Yeah. Oh, that's what
right,
it's about.
but it'll be Untamed Moose Heart.
That's where the person who gets the transplant talked like Bullwinkle for the entire thing.
Guys, write this screenplay now.
Oh boy, yeah. Oh my God, this is our Kevin Smith segment. Instead of like writing a film about a guy who turns into a walrus, we'll write a film about. So your listeners at home should tweet either #MooseHeart yes or #MooseHeart no.
Perfect. Let's make this happen. Here we come, Hollywood.
Yeah.
Everybody else
then in the end credits, they'll play this segment.
I think it was at this point I wrote, "We get it. She likes blood."
Oh yeah. Again, that's the whole segment. Also, instead of faces on the wall, she just has like heads, like mounted like deer heads.
Yes, but I want to think that was Danzig homaging himself from the song Skulls by the Misfits, where he was mounting heads on walls.
I could see him getting that idea and thinking it was very clever, and that you'd really have to hunt hard to get that reference.
And this ends with the Countess holding one of the heads in her hand, and then we go back to our hostess who says, I'm going to take a bath, Darklings. Now linger on me for 10 minutes. The end.
She advised us to stay dark.
Yes, stay dark, Darklings.
Because
got it.
I'm guessing if this had gone well, that Danzig was envisioning further entries into this, possibly even a show on maybe Shudder, which where you can see this. I don't think that is going to happen.
No. Though
Feel
he
bad
has,
because
he has completed his second film, his vampire western.
Say what now?
Yeah. No, he's done a follow-up film already. It's already in the can. Eli Roth is in it. Julian Sands is in it.
Warlock is in it.
Yeah.
I don't know if I can after this. I don't know if I've got faith in anything.
I don't know, man. If you're saying Eli Roth and Julian Sands, two guys who I don't feel would need a director to tell them how to act. Maybe Eli Roth.
I love the title Verotika because he says apparently it's a portmanteau of violence and erotica combining those two words. But you're not. It's just erotica with a V on it. V could be anything. V could be vegetables. I like vegetables. It's erotic vegetables.
And
violence or any word that starts with V.
And we already have those. It's called the Veggie Tales. So that was the end of Verotika.
Oh man, those are hot.
Oh, Christianity is so sexy. All right.
It is sexy, especially when it's with anthropomorphic cartoon vegetables.
This is taking a turn.
The cucumber, am I right?
Yeah. Verotika has come to an end. We've reached the end of this film. So let's go around the horn. I think this will be fairly obvious, judging by how we all talked about this movie. But Galen, as our guest, why don't you tell us, would you recommend Verotika to people?
I mean, the short answer is no. The extension of that is, I think having seen it and talking to those who have, there is certainly a sort of badge of honor for having sat through this, but I don't think, but also having been someone who sat through it, there's nothing really to be gained in that other than some of there is some bragging rights that come with it, but it's not fun. It's torturous. It's very uncomfortable. I would say it is one of those movies you would have on the background at a party if you want that party to end. But no.
Nathan?
Only in the most Neil Breenian way. I would say if you could get a little October, and not in the Halloween kind of way, if you're from Canada, if you get what I'm saying, and watch it with some friends, you could have an absolute hoot and a holler, not unlike the screening audience at the premiere. However, if you're looking for a serious anthology movie to watch, avoid.
Yeah, because I love anthologies, and so this was, I watched this the first time alone, and it was just a very sad evening.
Mm-hmm. But now imagine, getting baked out of your tree and watching it with some friends while you all do your best Tom Servo.
That would be fun.
Yeah.
If you kind of divide the pain among a large group and it's kind of dissipated, but if you're the only one who has to absorb all the torture, it's horrendous.
All you end up doing is sitting around and questioning your life choices.
I will say that I would, as far as like a dumb, funny, bad movie, I would maybe slightly recommend the first segment.
Okay.
Because I think that's the closest to that vibe of like, this is bad and dumb, but I'm laughing at how stupid it is. The other two are just like, aside from the detective, the other two are painful. Like, especially that last segment. There's no plot. There's nothing.
Right.
The effects are nice. Like, honestly, I've got no
the
problem
production
with
design is nice. Yeah. The dungeon production design is decent.
But
even throughout most of the movie, I mean, some of the stuff that they use for visuals, I mean, the genitalist spider, the
spider neck breaker,
right? The scarring on our mystery girl when people get defaced.
Mm-hmm.
When you said genitalist, I thought you said like the genitalist, like a mentalist parody.
The genitalist. Just Simon Baker, just like
Your
staring
balls
at people's crotches.
Your balls just got a lot smaller. Or it's a guy going around with a list of people's genitals that he's seen.
It's like up and
just collecting them all.
All right, check.
As many as possible. I'm the genitalist.
But yeah, no. But the first, and turn it off after the first segment if you want to watch like a dumb, funny, bad movie, and then you're good after that. Don't watch the last two.
Your better bet is to watch like Tales from the Hood, maybe some old Tales from the Crypt, Creepshow.
There's an infinite number of anthologies that are great fun, and this has like hints of that. I mean, he's apparently seen some of those movies. I mean, this has like echoes of like Boris Karloff and in Baba's Black Sabbath, where he's just kind of without affectation, just introducing these stories. But it's like that, like divided by 100. There's like nothing.
And I think that's its biggest sin, is that it has the potential to be legitimately good, and it fails at every turn.
Well, on that note, we are going to take a brief break, and we will be right back.
What were they thinking?
What Were They Thinking is brought to you by HostGator. HostGator is a leading provider of shared, reseller, VPS, and dedicated hosting solutions. Award-winning support is available 24/7, 365 days a year via phone, email, and live chat. Discover why over 9 million websites trust HostGator. Use the coupon code SCHLOCK for 25% off your first purchase. That's SCHLOCK, SCHLOCK, for 25% off your first purchase.
What Were They Thinking is brought to you today by GameItAll.com. Whether it's video game news, the latest in music, or movie reviews, GameItAll.com is your one-stop shop for all nerdy talk.
What were they thinking?
And we're back.
Yes, we are back.
Yes, it is time, Nathan. What is it time for?
Well, it is time for the low haiku. Now, this is the segment of our show where we take 17 perfect syllables to describe the movie that we just spent the last hour and some change talking about. However, this week I have actually prepared a musical cover. I know it diverges a little bit from the usual platform, the usual format that we go with, but I feel it will fit quite nicely.
Okay, well, why don't we save that for to close us out then?
Okay.
Galen, would you like to read your low haiku?
I would be proud to, yes. Eyes gouged in the first scene. My own envy, that same fate. Credits roll. Or tears.
Very good, very good, very emotive. I felt every word.
Yes.
Okay, here we go. Danzig made a film, or something resembling one. What's the point of it?
Very good.
I felt that deeply.
I wanted you to feel it deeply, so I'm glad.
Okay, so I have prepared a brief musical segment in the style of today's director.
Oh.
I got something to say. I raped your eyeballs today. It doesn't matter much to me. Don't call my film gay.
Ah.
Oh, yes, in the vein of Last Caress by the Misfits.
Last Caress by
yeah.
Mary Jane. One more time to feel the pain.
An homage, yes.
We're out.
One more time to fill your eyeballs.
Birds!
Verotika!
I got something
the new
to
Geostorm. We talked about this movie, Nathan, but what do we always say?
We always say...
Don't take a word for it.
That's right. We are going to our old friends at Rotten Tomatoes. Nathan, what do the critics...
Rotten Tomatoes.
Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah.
What do they say? What do the critics say, and what do the audience say, percentage-wise?
It's pretty neck and neck here. The critics liked it a bit more than the audience, though.
That shocks me.
24% versus 21%.
Okay, well, that doesn't shock me.
Yeah, it's not a big difference.
No.
No.
So there you go. Those are the percentages. Let's get into these critics reviews here. Our first one here is from Nathaniel Muir of AIPT, and he says the acting will not win any awards, and the filmmaking goes beyond first-time mistakes. But this is the special kind of bad that is engaging.
So on a Neil Breenan proportions.
Yep.
Right.
Well, Matt Donato of What to Watch, he put something longer than not this. But it's not much longer. Danzig's Verotika is a horror anthology abomination with less value than a 3 a.m. Skinamax headliner.
Boom.
0.5 out of 5.
It's high.
Norm Gidney from HorrorBuzz.com
Norm!
says, HorrorBuzz! Yeah. It's a good rag. Verotika is an intriguing study in cinematic misfires that sets off a chain reaction from the single word question, why?
Okay. Carrie O'Shea from A Warped Perspective says, how did a professed lifelong horror fan with a reasonable indie land budget and bags of potential manage to crank out a film of such questionable standards? Why didn't anybody say? And I feel like the answer to that is because he's Danzig and he would have it no other way.
That kind of rhymed too. Nice.
Mm-hmm.
I may just go roll in the hay. Who's to say?
Yeah.
Just watched that this past week. Patrick Bromley from Bloody Disgusting.
Oh yeah, my favorite.
He wrote, the movie played like a comedy and not on purpose. 1 out of 5.
Wah, wah.
This is from Anthony Gramuglia from CBR.com, and he says, at times Verotika resembles softcore porn, but even then it's so low energy and unconvincing that it fails there too.
It's a failed porno.
Oh boy.
Joey Keogh of Wicked Horror. I guess this will be my last one here.
Yeah.
Joey Keogh of Wicked Horror says, if you thought those stories about Danzig loving onion soup and refusing to come on stage because it was too cold were humiliating enough, well, prepare yourself because Verotika is the biggest embarrassment yet.
Even more than when the time he got punched out backstage?
Well, I mean, he didn't mention that, but apparently more embarrassing than him not liking cold onion soup.
Right.
Which, that is insane.
Wow.
Well, I've actually got, this is my last one, but it's a pair, but I think it counts because it's from the same person. Deidre Crimmins, she wrote for not only Rue Morgue magazine, but also High Def Digest. And she writes for Rue Morgue magazine, she wrote, perhaps the worst crime of Verotika is that it presents itself as a horror film, but never makes an earnest effort to create any horror. And then her second review for High Def Digest writes, even with ignoring the aggressive sexism, unintentional humor, and watered-down stories, Verotika's gross incompetence in the basic mechanics of film creation makes it an utter failure.
Wow. I'm not
Hot
gonna
take, Deidre.
I'm not gonna lie to you. I was really hoping that her second review was like a masterpiece.
Oh, well. Let's see. Okay, finally, this will be my last from the official reviews. And this is Zoe Rose Smith from HorrorNews.net. And she concludes her review with, there is an argument to be made for that Verotika has become a famous film from the fact that it is so bad, which is in some ways true. But it should also be recognized for the misogynistic pile of trash that it is. I would never class this as a film that is so bad it's good. I would class this as a film that I had to laugh at, otherwise I would have cried.
I love that. And she's right on all accounts. Audience reviews. I'm gonna tell you right now, I have some written down. I glanced at this before. Some of these are straight up disturbing. First review is from Corny G, and Corny G gives it 5 stars. And he says, he or she, I don't know, but they said, Danzig made me re-examine a few of my many fetishes. Eye nips got me fully torqued, and it was all uphill from there. Might I add, excellent camera work and pacing.
As an afterthought.
Also, pacing?
Have you seen a movie?
Yeah.
Corny G.
Kansas B also had the same feeling, giving it 5 out of stars. They wrote
stars.
5 out of stars. Yep.
5 out of stars.
5 out of stars. Yeah. Put that on a shirt. So Kansas B writes, I was like, wow, I'm been this hard as a rock in many months. I yerked for hours. Yerked with a Y. No spoilers, but eyes on the breasts was like, who, baby? Goot Lord. G-O-O-T. Lord. The fuck hat guy got me off, no worries. Woo!
Jesus.
Again,
5 stars. 5 out of stars.
5 out of stars.
5 out of stars.
Again, that could be someone misappropriating the name, my dear friend Kansas. That could also be her questionable sense of humor. Just following that, I mean, all of these are just gold. These are we could just go for hours on these. The next one right after that, I don't even have to search for these. They're right there for the taking. Vincent P, obviously Vincent Price. I'm not going to do a Vincent Price voice. I'm sorry. No, sorry. So scary and hot, ... I would like to meet Mr. Glenn Danzig and shake him on the hand.
That makes it so much worse.
Shake him on the hand. Not by the hand, on the hand.
All right,
Yeah.
so
It leads you to wonder where the shaking is taking place.
we have another celebrity reviewer here, guys, from Kurt R., who I can only assume is Kurt Russell.
Obviously.
Says, inventive storytelling, non-derivative cinematography, visuals that will challenge the viewer and make them question what they value in all moving pictures. 5 out of stars.
5 out of stars.
5 out of stars.
Well, I'll say this. Caleb R., which I can't work with that name at all, only gave it a half out of stars. And half out of stars. He writes, I didn't even watch this movie fully. I watched it through Chris Struckman's hilariosity review of it. And that's all I needed to come to the conclusion that this is a dumpster fire of epic proportions. Half a star for being way too generous. Half a star is being way too generous.
Half out of stars.
Half out of stars.
Half out of
by
stars.
Caleb R.
Let's see. Zach S. He also gives it half out of stars, and he says, I'm not convinced this movie exists. I think it might have been a drug-infused fever dream. And like a dream, nothing makes sense, doesn't flow, and is baffling after it's over. But this ain't the kind of dream you forget moments after you wake up, unfortunately.
Okay, guys, so I actually went over to Shudder, and they have reviews on Shudder. I'm going to read 2 because one of them is really quick, and it has my favorite username of all time. This is by Killary Swank.
Clever. That's clever.
And he or she says, wow, I guess there's boobs? 8. 1 star. 1 out of stars. One out of
1
skulls.
out of stars, eh?
And then the other quick one here is 5 out of skulls. And
5 out of
they
skulls.
say,
Oh, yes, because it's Shudder, so it's out of skulls, right?
Right.
Yeah, you got the skulls.
All right, stay with me here, guys. This is going to be my last one, too. Is fun to enjoy the dark and take time to enjoy that and know that is Super Priest that gone appears with stupid spells and small cross. Thank for that beautifully crafted movie. I love it. Roger Ebert, step aside. Wait.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good stuff. Too soon.
Oh, yeah, way too soon.
Way too soon.
Skid with 2
Bro.
Ds. He wrote, I would hate to be stuck in Glenn's head. A psychotic 19-year-old masturbatory dream.
Well, written by Sebastian Bach.
And as a counterpoint, Monkey Butt 69 gave it 5 out of skulls. And he wrote, yo, get into it.
Oh, monkey butt.
This one came from this was a 5 out of skull review from an anonymous, what I can assume is an anonymous user, or if you want to get technical, anon_SVOD_user_1591570067889.
You are called out, sir or ma'am.
He or she or it says, best movie, better than Mandy, full tent all the time.
Fuck
Oh
off.
my
Really
God.
disturbing. Really
Better
disturbing.
than
That,
Mandy.
that's
No, that's not the full tent all the time, Brendan. That's the most disturbing part.
No,
well, yeah,
disturbed
and the
Better Than
indication
Mandy.
that he that he was potentially that he was only half tent while watching Mandy. He was like, "Oh, this isn't doing it for me." Then switched switch over to Verotika. Now that's doing it.
That's doing it. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh, yeah.
Eyes on the nipples.
This wasn't nearly as misogynistic for my taste. I'll switch over to Verotika.
There was
You
too
know,
much
the women were not brutalized enough.
There's too much of a redemption in Mandy.
There was too much redemption for the women in this movie. Verotika will give me that, the pleasure I need.
So those reviews were gross. So that's Verotika. We talked about it, we read the reviews, we covered it, we got it, it's done. We can take a long shower now.
Patty told me, you know what? You tell Brendan that this movie wasn't very good, and we shouldn't have had to watch this. Essentially, was her drive home point. And I was like, sweetheart, you would have saw this eventually. And she was, what? I was like, Glenn Danzig wrote and directed this. He's the former lead singer of the Misfits. I have a couple of the comics. You would have seen this eventually.
Yeah,
Would
100%.
have at least walked through the living room and seen this on the television.
Yes, and uttered her infamous catchphrase, "What the hell are you watching?" Something messed up is happening on the screen. She comes in. What are you watching? A horror movie. We've been together for over 20 years. It's a horror movie. I watch horror movies. There are disturbing things that happen in horror movies. You should be used to this by now.
You can say that if you see me in the movie.
Yes, exactly.
Well, there we go. That is Verotika. I do want to thank our two-time guest now. Two-time
Boy.
guest, Galen Howard, for stopping by to talk about this film. Thank you.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for enduring this mess collectively with me.
And Galen, do you have anything you would like to plug at this point?
Well, I do have a horror anthology of my own that's coming out at the end of November. A holiday themed horror anthology called Deathcember. That's coming out from Scream Factory, and it's sort of an advent calendar themed Christmas horror anthology. A lot of really fun segments. I'm in a lovely giallo themed segment with Barbara Magnolfi from the original Suspiria, and then it has segments from people like Lucky McKee and Rogero Diodato, and horror actors like A.J. Bowen and Barbara Crampton. It's a lot of fun. Coming out November 24th, Deathcember.
Awesome. I'm sold already.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun.
I am intrigued.
Yeah, Scream Factory.
Yeah.
And
Absolutely.
and where can they stalk you online?
You can stalk me at Instagram. I'm creeping there a lot at Galen Howard, all one word. Or I'm occasionally on the Twitters because I love to complicate things on Twitter. My handle is at _Galen_Howard_.
There you go. 1 second.
Yep, there you go.
Next week is
please.
November. And following in our yearly tradition in November, let's give us a hint-ski as to what's coming up.
Look into my eye.
So there you go. That's coming up next week. Is Montrose Monkington there also to say a few words before we sign off?
Absolutely. Hello! It's your good friend Montrose Minkington III here. Honestly, every time I think you chaps have reached the bottom of the barrel, someone hands you a pickaxe and a shovel, don't they? It's not Postal. It's not as bad as Postal, but I mean, honestly, it's down there. I mean, it does not look upon women favorably at all.
No.
Also, several times, I feel that it spat upon the audience's intelligence.
It's in that realm for sure. Sorry, yes.
How would you put it with muck?
This is worse than muck.
This is worse than okay. That's fair. But I digress. I am Montrose Minkington III Esquire from Bananashire upon Hampton in the great country of England. and I would like to invite all of your listeners to come over to my my YouTube channel, which is far better than Postal and quite possibly far better than this movie. You can see me talk about the wrestling and several other things if you feel free to search through the library of videos that I've uploaded. Once you've done that, if you wish to be friends, come on over to Facebook, the group Montrose Munkington III Esquire and Friends, and we can be friends on Facebook. But if you'd just like to get me on the Twitter box, you can tweet me at Montrose III. That's the number 3RD. Thank you. More later.
And as for our show, you can find us on all the podcatchers. We're everywhere. ageofradio.org is our home base. ageofradio.org/whatweretheythinking.
Dollar bill, yo! Make it
money. Make it rain. Yeah.
Big time.
I'm running on
With the big time. That's how that song goes, right?
Yeah.
It's just indecipherable words, and then big time.
We sound like an AI trying to finish a song. So you can find us on Age of Radio, all the podcatchers, any podcast app, just search for us. We're there. Find us on Twitter and Instagram at WWTT Podcast. We're on Facebook. We're on Patreon, patreon.com/WWTT Podcast, and also on Redbubble and TeePublic. Check that out and have a ball. Once again, thanks again, Galen. Just want to make sure I reiterate that. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
And happy early Halloween, everyone.
And happy early Thanksgiving to you, Galen, because you are in the United States of America. Yeah.
Right. Yes, I have plenty to be thankful for being in the United States, for sure.
I know we are, Nathan and I, we are Canadian. We record from Canada, but we do have American listeners, and I thought it would be a nice little thing to just mention because this episode is coming out on October 29th. So this will technically be the last episode before the American election. So if any American listeners are listening to this and haven't voted yet, please go out and fucking vote. Please go out and vote. And I can't tell you who to vote for. I can't tell you to vote for Joe Biden or the human shit stain. I can't make that decision for you. But please go vote. Go vote. Vote. That having been said.
You know what they say about, the orange things with the horrible looking faces? After Halloween, you're supposed to throw them out.
There you go. Truer words were never
right.
Spoken.
Let them rot. Yeah.
Nathan,
or make a pie with them. Yeah.
Okay, I don't know what I lost the analogy now.
I think what I'll explain it to you off air, Brandon. I don't want to get it at.
Okay, perfect. Nathan, do you have questions about this movie to wrap us up?
Well, I mean, I've got a few questions, I guess.
All right.
Really, I mean, I shouldn't because I will probably be the one who's more familiar with the being known as Glenn Danzig. But still, this movie. So with a movie where one segment has all American actors, and they choose to make them speak with French accents in English to each other, and with a movie where you have legitimate adult film stars, but can't find a stripper to dance to save their lives, and with a movie where the last segment is she likes blood. You get it, huh? You get it?
Yeah, I believe those are the words spoken.
Right. And in a movie that was written, directed, and I believe produced, at least partially, by Glenn Danzig, and there's only one Danzig song in the entire movie, I just gotta ask.
Yeah?
What was he thinking?
Each time I see a little girl of 5 or 6 or 7, I can't resist a joyous urge to smile and say thank heaven. For little girls get bigger every day. Thank heaven for little girls. They grow up in the most delightful way. Those little eyes so helpless and appealing. One day will flash and send you crashing through the ceiling. Thank heaven for little girls. Thank heaven for them all, no matter where, no matter who. Without them, what would little boys do? Thank heaven, thank heaven, thank heaven for little girls.